Good morning, students. We are going to start our SST 9th class, Chapter 2, Constitutional Design, Video 3, Political Science. The South African Constitution inspires the democrats all over the world. A state denounced by the entire world till recently as the most undemocratic one is now seen as the model of democracy. Now, because South Africa was under the white rule for a long period of time, now after its independence, it established its country as a democratic one, and it not only established it. It became, it became an example for the rest of the world that how a democratic country should be. What made this change possible was the determination of the people of South Africa to work together, to transform bitter experience into the binding glue of a rainbow nation. Speaking on the South African Constitution, Mandela said, "The Constitution of South Africa speaks of both the past and the future. On the one hand, it is a solemn pact in which we, as South Africans, declare to one another that we shall never permit a repetition of our racist, brutal, and repressive past, because they have made the government with, including whites. Therefore, Nelson Mandela is saying that we should forget the bitter past and create a beautiful future. It is also a charter for the transformation of our country into one which is truly shared by all its people, a country which in the fullest sense belongs to all of us, lack of and white women and men." Why do we need a constitution? The South African example is a good way to understand why we need a constitution and what do constitutions do. The oppressor and the oppressed in this new democracy were planning to live together as equals. So, as we can take the example of South Africa, now white rulers who were the oppressors and black citizens who were oppressed, so now they are sitting together to create a democratic country. How is it possible? It was not going to be easy for them to trust each other, because these blacks, they will be always having somewhere back of their mind that whites may change their mind and again try to rule South Africa and to suppress them, and white will be having this doubt that after the independence blacks may take the revenge from the whites because they exploited them in such a way. They had their fears. They wanted to safeguard their interest. They have their fears, but they want to protect their interest. So what they did, the black majority was keen to ensure that the democratic principle of majority rule was not compromised. Okay, meaning blacks were in majority, so majority rule will be there, but that doesn't mean that white minority will be neglected. So, but they will be protected its privileges and property as well. They wanted substantial social and economic rights. After long negotiations, both parties agreed to a compromise. The whites agreed to the principle of majority rule and that of one person, one vote. They also agreed to accept some basic rights for the poor and the workers. So these were accepted by the whites. Now what blacks accepted? The blacks agreed that majority rule would not be absolute. Majority rule will be there, but it doesn't compromise the interest of the white minority. They agreed that the majority would not take away the property of the white minority. This compromise was not easy. How was this compromise going to be implemented? Means they debated for this for a long period of time. They made the constitution that in that everybody will be equal, they will be having their properties and everything, they will not be snatched off everything. But is it really practical? Even if they manage to trust each other, what was the guarantee that this trust will not be broken in future? The only way to build and maintain trust in such a situation is to write down some rules of the game that everyone would abide by. So, our topic was what is the need of constitution. So, on whatever terms and conditions, blacks and whites, they are going to make a government. So in the future anybody can deny of their agreements. So for that they need something very concrete. That was constitution, that was written. So if anything is written in the constitution, that is to be followed by blacks and whites togetherly, and nobody can be denying of their agreements because all that is written in the constitution. These rulers lay down how the rulers are to be chosen in future. These rulers also determine what the elected governments are empowered to do and what they cannot do. Everything was written in constitution. So this is it, students. We will continue the topic in the next video. This is SST 9th, Chapter 2, Constitutional Design, Video 4 from Political Science. Now finally, these rules decide the rights of the citizen. These rules will work only if the winner cannot change them very easily. So rules were made in such a way, it was designed in such a way that the rulers cannot change it very easily. This is what the South Africans did. They agreed on some basic rules that is to be followed by everyone. They also agreed that these rules will be supreme, that no government will be able to ignore these. This set of basic rules is called a constitution. So what is constitution? Set of basic rules is called constitution. Constitution making is not unique to South Africa. So it is not something new which happened for the first time in Africa. Every country has diverse groups of people. Their relationship may not have been as bad as that between the whites and the blacks in South Africa. Every country has diverse groups of people. Their relationship may not have been as bad as that between the whites and the blacks in South Africa. Still, all over the world, people have differences of opinion and interest, whether democratic or not. Most countries in the world need to have these basic rules. This applies not just to governments. Any association needs to have its constitution. It could be a club in your area, a cooperative society, or a political party. They all need a constitution. So we have understood the need of constitution, that it is a set of rules and regulations, and on that they have to abide by the rules and regulations. Thus, the constitution of a country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all people living together in a country. Constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among people living in a territory called citizens, and also the relationship between the people and government. A constitution does many things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kind of people to live together. Very important thing that is helping to establish trust because of constitution. When people are living together, they should be having trust upon each other. Otherwise, it's not possible to live them together even in a house. So trust is very important. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have power to take which decisions. That is also written in the constitution, that how the government will be elected and what kinds of power they will be having, and what are the restrictions which is imposed upon them, and which decisions they can take, like what decision executive will be taking, or legislature will be taking, or judiciary will be taking, or what decisions will be taken by the parliament or the legislative assembly. All this is written in the constitution. Thirdly, it lays down limits on the powers of the government and tells us what the rights of the citizens are. And fourth, it expresses the aspirations of the people about creating a good society. All countries that have constitutions are not necessarily democratic. So this we have to keep in mind, that as we know, constitution, it is a set of rules and regulations, meaning every country is working or following some rules and regulations. But if any country is having constitution, that is not the guarantee that the country will be democratic as well. After the War of Independence against Great Britain, the Americans gave themselves a constitution. After the Revolution, the French people approved a democratic constitution. Since then, it has become a practice in all democracies to have a written constitution. Making of the Indian Constitution. Preamble. An introductory statement in a constitution which states the reasons and guiding values of the constitution. So this is the Constitution of India. It is also there in your book, and it is based upon the people of India, that will be sovereign, democratic republic. There will be justice, political justice, social justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, brotherhoodness. All this will be there in the constitution. This is it, students. Thank you so much. We will continue the chapter in another video. Bye bye.